Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP early game Vex build in Borderlands 4. This will be utilizing the Deadringer skill tree as it's actually really crazy in damage. I really like the phase familiar, but this one outputs a lot more damage. I'll be covering everything regarding this build. First with the skill tree, because that's what's most important. So this is going to be roughly to level 20 or so, and I'll be talking about what gear to look for and everything regarding this. Now, there's two standouts here. The Sanguine Friends, whenever you kill a target, it gives you and your minions health. The reason this is an important one is because we want to keep our minions on the battlefield as long as possible, and if we're constantly taking down enemies, we can restore their health, keep them alive indefinitely. If you're going against a boss, Cold Iron is better, however. This gives you a 15% boost to your overall damage and a 30% boost to the gun damage of your minions. So be mindful that one is a melee and one is a gun user, so that's only going to affect half of them. So I personally think that this one, Sanguine Friends, is great. This is okay getting increased reload speed at full health. It's always a nice thing. And this one here, which will give you increased health capacity, but I think the Sanguine Friends ends up being a bit better. Once we make it here, we actually want to have the Coven skill. This is extremely powerful because just make sure you slot it because it won't be automatically slotted. Whenever you spawn a Reaper, which is the melee one, it's going to give your minions a health regeneration for a duration, which is very good. You'll see why. And if you spawn a Spectre, you get increased critical hit chance for a duration, which is nice too. It's always great to get crits, but I think that the health regeneration is a little bit better, and this will last for 20 seconds, max stacks 3. Now for the rest of the skills, a Gas Blaster is okay, it does additional damage, 400 is nice, but it does kind of taper off compared to the Coven's ability. So I've tried Curse Blade. It's not really that good until later on when you can grab like a throwing dagger, which can then enhance it a lot more. This will give you increased status effect damage, which I think she's best utilized in using different elements because you can change your minions there, make them deal additional damage. Always be swapping elements. Corrosive and fire are very good in this game. This will give you increased damage that way. And this one is actually kind of cool. The Grave Assault, whenever you kill a target, you're going to get an increased stack of fire rate, which means you can put out more damage. And this applies to your minions as well, so they actually can attack a lot faster. This just really depends if you are more focused on status damage, which I think is a little bit better, or this one here, which will allow you to shoot a lot quicker, which you can only get 3 stacks, but you're going to likely have those 3 stacks most times. Personally, I think that the increased status damage is a little bit better. You're not missing out on much with the curse damage here, because this will give you increased curse damage on critical hit, but the curse damage is not that high. Now this one's pretty cool, the Blood Sacrifice. For kill skills like Sanguine Friends, with this, whenever your minions die, you actually activate their kills. So if you had the Grave Assault there, that's a kill skill as well. You can also remove the points from this if you didn't want this one here and build around the kill skill, because this one actually is pretty strong too. It just depends where you prefer building around. Now this one, you got a choice here. Grave Friends will increase damage. It's a kill skill as well. 3 stacks and can increase your overall damage by... If you put 5 points in, it's an additional 12.5 damage per stack on a kill skill, which is actually pretty crazy. And this is, you can get 3 stacks of this. That's an additional 37 damage. And now it's better than this one because it's not gun damage, it's total damage. So your Spectre can actually, or your Reaper can actually benefit from this as well. However, this one is also really good, the Grave Quickening kill skill. You get increased action skill cooldown rate whenever you get kills in 3 stacks, and this can build upwards of the 17.5 per stack. Now, the reason I like this one a lot is this allows you to actually summon in more of your Reapers, because with certain skills we get later on, you can actually keep multiple Reapers alive at a time. So this can be an extremely effective one because with this skill, you're going to be getting more of them more frequently. Although it is also good to go with the increased damage because the damage is an extra like 37%, which is actually pretty nice. So we'll go with that. We'll take 4 points there. Now, here's where I think things get a little crazy because the Hellish Harvest is actually really good. I prefer the gun using ones, but the Reapers become like insane with this. So what this does is they do a attack that recovers their health and they spam this attack. So we're going to slot this instead of Coven. Coven's great though if you're using I guess using kind of both of them. This one I think ends up giving them a lot more survivability. You expect your Spectres to go down, but your Reapers, the melee ones, stay up a lot longer because they do this large area of effect attack. It heals them, and yeah, they likely will get full health again and they'll start ticking down, but this gives them much needed survivability. Now, I've tried the Blight attunement here, and this is actually, so it's funny, you can actually spec into any of these skill trees, so you're not just locked to this one here where we have the skill tree. Boy, this is pretty crazy, is whenever you're attuned to Corrosive, you create a little floating ghost that goes around dealing damage over time. It's not a lot of damage, but it's enough to actually be noticeable. I don't think this is the best skill tree here because it gives you like an additional like 100 damage over time, which is nice, but not as good as some of the others. And what's nice, if you keep killing enemies, it actually refreshes the little ghost that goes around flying, dealing damage. so it can be okay. There's other ones here which will apply random status effects, which is really good, especially if you're going with an elemental build. I think this is possibly the best choice here. This one, if you're attuned to fire, you get additional critical hit damage and status application, which is okay too. The recurrence here, which will give you increased damage, and this is a stack that you build up with quite a few of. I found this damage to be pretty nice because you can get 50 stacks of it, and you can get like, yeah, an extra like 50 damage almost per stack. Yeah, it's a 0.8, 50 stacks. Pretty crazy. You do have to keep grinding it out. So yeah, this is a fun one. Note that this is only damage on the minions, so it's not as good as something like the prismatic weaponry. Now, you always want to be aiming for criticals at any point. This gives you bonus damage on them, so like if you're hitting 50% of the time critical hits, you're going to get a huge boost to your damage. But what this also does is the bonus damage is applied as a random elemental type that changes whenever you reload your gun. That's actually pretty crazy, so the extra damage can be absurd. I would recommend going with either the Prismatic Ichor here, which will give you additional status effects on your attacks, so you can apply multiple status effects, or this one here, which gives you a 30% boost to your damage and an additional 50% per attunement skill. Now, this is where the Reapers kind of come together. If we had more skill points, we'd want to put the Spirit Bomb here, which gives them more health. They do a Spirit Bomb, not Dragon Ball Z, but this will deal damage to the elemental to the enemies nearby. And then we can also grab the Death Falls Closer, which allows you to summon a Reaper whenever you get to low health, which is a cooldown, which we're going to do. So these two actually work really well together. And with the Reaper Hellish Harvest there, you basically will stay alive forever, because when your Reapers are out, what they're going to be doing is just going around cleaving enemies multiple times. And with their attacks, they actually will keep hunting down enemies. The Reapers are a lot better than they think. If you feel like the Spectres do a lot because they're shooting at enemies constantly, but when it comes to actual gameplay, the Reapers do a lot more with their Hellish Cleave. As far as inventory goes, this game is random. You're looking for loot, but you want to have all your bases covered. Like, I have a fire weapon here, and then I have a lightning and fire. Maliwan is my favorite brand of weapons in this game. It's just fun to have all the elemental damage choices. So this one's my fire and shock. This one here has radiation, which creates a huge area of effect damage. And then this one here is corrosive. So I'm covering everything with these weapons, but really go with whatever you got available. I like to have at least something that's fire, lightning, and corrosive at the very minimum to cover your different bases. Cold damage can be fun as well. Now, personally, I really like the weapons that have the Singularity. Each grenade spawns a Singularity, the pulling Augment. This is really good because when you throw your grenades, it's going to pull all the enemies in, and they're going to float around these points here. And this means that your Spectre can just shoot at them, and they have pretty much auto aim, so they're going to hit their shot. For class mods, whenever you get those available at level 20, look for max shield capacity. That's always a good one to go with. And then whatever weapon you use the most, and look for the ones that gives you skills. This is a terrible one for my build, but I also like shield to give you a high shield chance. This one's also an armor shield, so it's pretty good. It gives us a massive shield. The grenade being the most important item, though, with that pull-in effect. And this one actually gives you shield, so look around for whatever. You can actually go with a lower level heal. Doesn't really matter as much as some of the other items that we got equipped here. So yeah, that's, I think, what works best. So putting this all together, first thing we want to do is we want to get a Reaper out there to draw aggro from us. Find a high ground for our Spectre, because they get screwed over if they can't get line of sight on an enemy, whereas the Reaper can move around getting in with its cleaves. Now the thing is, the Reapers are actually absurd and being a little goofy right there, running into a wall. But it's going to do that cleave attack pretty commonly. You can see there it's knocking the enemies down. That's what they're there for, and then that spinning attack will give it the ability to get its health back too. So you constantly will notice it doing it on its third attack there. I'll just let it clear out enemies here. You don't even have to do too much. The spinning attack there just absolutely shredding through enemies like that. It's absurd how quickly the Reapers can go through enemies. You don't even really have to play too much. They can do a lot of the work themselves. So yeah, that is the best way to play, is utilizing the Deadringer abilities here. The Spectre I used to find to be pretty effective in combat, but the Reaper ended up doing a lot more work for us, so I personally prefer rolling with that instead. But let me know your thoughts on this build in the comments. I'll be doing future builds as I get further into this game, but the Reaper and the Spectre are pretty crazy in terms of what they can do. You don't even have to really focus on playing too much, because you can just let them take care of the enemies like that. So yeah, hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. Let me know what Borderlands 4 content you want to see next, and I'll see y'all in the next video.